different album for Borknagar, at least from my point of view and probably from the rest of the world's point of view. How did people actually respond to that album?
Well, in general, at least the feedbacks we got was really positive, actually. I kind of expected much more diverse feedbacks and criticism and stuff like that, but I think the feedback we got was actually basically good. But of course, I mean, it was totally out of track, so to speak. It was an acoustic album, and of course there was a lot of people that just don't like that kind of music. I did a lot of interviews, and some people just told me, the first thing they said on the phone was like, well, I'm a metalhead, I don't like it. But anyway, how and that's fair enough. I mean that's fair enough. For me as a musician, it's you know, it's so, almost like a musical survival. I mean, I think at that time we needed to do something like that, just to, you know, when you do a band like we have done now for almost 15 years in total. At least I've been doing this for 15 years with the same band and, you know, the same stuff and stuff going on. I think at one point you just need to do something, some twists and turns.
Yeah, you need to mix it up, you know? You need to throw everything up in the air and see where it lands.
Yeah, I mean, for me it was a mental thing really, just to I mean, for example, Epic was a kind of very kind of long album, very kind of arranged album.
Bombastic. More of everything, you know?
Yeah, it was more of everything.
Fill up the sound picture and, you know, get it as massive as you possibly can.
And that was totally intentional, I would say, and something we wanted to do at that time. We just wanted to, you know, make the most out of it somehow. And at least from my point of view, Origin then became, you know, the way to get it back to the ground.
It's a
make it simple, counterpoint. Really get it back to the ground. Do something really, you know, organic and simple in terms of both music and lyrics, and somehow get back to the basics. And for me, this whole musical journey we had from the debut till Origin was like a 7-album long musical journey, and somehow, at least for me, you know, Origin represented some sort of homecoming. Okay, we are back to, you know, square zero or something like that. Because actually, when I started to write music, when I started to plan the band and stuff like that, I started out with acoustic guitar, making acoustic songs. So that was, you know, the very first, you know.
Can you picture that?
No.
It's true. It's true. So it was way more natural for us, you know, to, at least for me as a composer's point of view, to you know, come back home with an acoustic album rather than a typical black metal album, because it wasn't really black metal we started out with. It was more like the acoustic stuff. To me, Origin kind of represented some sort of, you know, homecoming from a long musical journey. And now I feel we have kind of, you know, been having a rest and laid back for some while, and, you know, getting new deals going and stuff like that, and spend some time on preparing the next album, and you know, universally it's some sort of, you know, the first page in a new chapter or something like that.
If we stick to the metal side of Borknagar, aside from Origin, I think it's very interesting to notice that you did like 5 albums in 6 years. Then 3 years passed before you came up with Epic, and then you had Origin 2 years later, and then now 5 years after Epic, you come up with Universal. So I guess the next album is in 2019 or something.
Something like that. We get kids and we work, and, you know, it takes a bit longer, and we get older, and, you know, things go slower.
I guess you also get more conscious on the quality thing, that it has to be something that you have to put the liver and soul into.
It's a combination, you know, as Lars also said, you know, in the mid 2005, 2004, a lot of us got kids and stuff like that, and we had, you know, we are all turning the 30s, so, you know, we are getting houses and cars and whatever. So there is other things in life that also count, so to speak.
Or that steal your time.
Yeah.
but also it's element. I mean, by, you know, when we did like Quintessence and maybe Empiricism, I would argue that it was quite established band somehow, and we didn't really need to rush anything. I mean, we could actually allow ourselves to, you know, relax a little bit, to spend the time we needed to actually make a good album and stuff like that. So we don't kind of stress with it anymore.
I think these processes, they find their own pace.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't sit down and have a meeting and we say that, okay, the next album should be out by spring 2013, and we should have this many songs and they should be of this sort of variety. It's more a natural process, you know. We write, we speak to each other, maybe we do a gig or two. Long time can pass where we don't do anything musically, I mean, directly connected to Borknagar. But it's just to follow that natural flow that you have creatively, and that natural flow that we have, I mean, internally within the band, the way we talk together, and the way that we sort of bring all the pieces together that we need to put together to have that whole puzzle that an album is, to end up with that like huge picture. So it's going to take the time that it's going to take, and we don't plan out for it to take 1 year or 5 years. It just happens.
Yeah, when it happens.
Where do you find the motivation to start over again after the last album, and you started slowly to get back in the business, you get ideas? Where do you find the motivation to develop?
You know, the way that we work as musicians, with all the bands that we do, with all the projects that we do, it's not really about seeking out to find that motivation. I think when you've done as many albums as we have with different bands and projects, it's becoming a matter of needing to do something.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah, and you have something. I mean, it's a creative thing. You have something within you that you need to exercise in some way. You know, you need to get it out. Some people paint. Some people go out with a camera and take pictures. We make music. We make albums. So it's an artistic outlet, and it's something that we need to do for our heads to work the way they should work, I would say.
It's your drug.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
almost. Yeah.
Something like that, you know. It makes us function in real life.